Also want to know what the fine is if somebody crosses the don't cross the police line.
Okay, yeah, let me see if I have someone else.
Okay, thank you.
This is Susan Bassey, and in this video we take you over the Santa Cruz Mountains to Capitola, a beach town on the Monterey Bay about 30 minutes from Los Gatos. And here we have another opportunity to report on the importance of public access to the courts and the insidious aspects of private judging. It also allows us to revisit the legal principle known as the Streisand Effect. In California, the right to public access to the beach and ocean is one of the strongest rights in the state. The public has a right to access the coastline in order to surf, paint, photograph, or merely enjoy the sights, sounds, and smells that only the Pacific Ocean can deliver. So when local government or private parties start to obstruct that right, it gets our attention. Back in 2020, Capitola and state officials closed public access to the beaches in a manner that simply didn't make sense. So in 2025, it was more surprising to see the same barriers being put up again, and we decided to find out what law or policy resulted in the beach closures.
That is so pretty. It almost looks like a painting, though. It's real pretty. I'm Susan Bassey, and I want to know if you have any records related to the beach closure.
To the beach closure?
Yeah, all the beach access is closed today.
Okay. Are you looking for a report? Or
Yeah, I'm wondering, so I'm a reporter, and so I came down here to go to the beach, and it was all closed, and so I'm going to put up why it's closed, and I'm wondering, and I started wondering, I know CHP sometimes has jurisdiction over the beach. I know you guys have jurisdiction over access to the beach, so did you get a notice? Why is it closed? What are the fines if people break through? That's what I'm trying to...
Okay, I've heard that they closed it down this morning. I don't know who exactly decided to close it down, so let me see if I have some...
Yeah, I just want to know, is it health, sneaker waves? Because there are people out there, so I also want to know what the fine is if somebody crosses the don't cross the police line.
Okay, yeah, let me see if I have someone else.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
All right, so per the captain, he said that Public Works was the one that decided to close the beach.
Okay.
If you want to talk to them, they'll be upstairs through the city, and it'll be Public Works.
Is that in this building?
Not in this building. If you go outside and right around the corner, there's some stairs, and it's through the double doors upstairs.
So did you get a notice from Public Works? Do you have that?
They notified us by phone.
By phone?
By phone, yeah. So I don't know how they got their notice as to...
Okay, I'll go find out.
Okay.
Do you know what the fine is for somebody that would... Because I was down there, and I know there's people jumping the... So I just want to know...
I don't know the fine at all. Yeah, if you like, I can go see.
Could you, Susie? I just want to know what the fine would be if somebody decides to bust through and the police come down and say this was closed.
Yeah, let me see if I can
Okay,
get that answer.
Thank you.
You may recall from our recent visit to the Milpitas Police Department that the police captain came out and spoke to us about our public records requests. And here in Capitola, the police captain is using his front records communications person to go back and forth to give me basic information that appears to largely have existed through phone calls and internal policies.
Sorry. Hi. We know?
No, so they're looking for it right now.
Okay.
They're wondering if you want to leave your name and phone number
Sure.
so they can get back to you.
Happy to. So my name is Susan Bassey,
Is it SSI?
Bassi. And my phone number, I'm on your press list, so I get notices. I just didn't get a notice about this. Okay. People should know why. And they asked me and I didn't know. And journalists don't like being asked questions we don't know the answer to. So thank you.
I will pass your info along and someone will give you a call.
I appreciate it very much. And I'll head to Public Works right now and see if I can get that notice. Okay, thank you.
Capitola Police never did call us back to explain why a public beach was closed and what fines individuals would face if they decided to go anyway. Being on the department's press list means we routinely receive notices about arrests, like suspects being arrested for furnishing alcohol to minors, and yet the department did not give any notice about this public beach closure, despite their ability to do so. Public notice is essential to a functioning democracy. Cities and towns are required to notify the public about meetings and hearings, just as courts must provide notice when they close proceedings or move cases into legal processes known as private judging. If you've been following our reporting, you know attorneys who are paid to act as private judges, essentially rented judges, often fail to follow the legal notice requirements. They frequently hold hearings without proper notice and close their private courtrooms to the public. So when the town seemed to close a public beach without any public notice, we went looking for the records that would show who had the authority or what policy allowed them to close a public beach.
No, this is Puppy. She's a journalism dog, so I record everywhere we go because how long it takes her to get records. She's 16.
Oh, wow, you're doing really good for a lab.
And she too wants to know why we did not get to go to the beach today.
I understand. I just got word of it, so I asked Public Works. It was
Yeah.
closed earlier for safety precautions. I guess piling from Santa Cruz Wharf had washed up, so it was
Okay.
a safety concern.
So it was
Very large.
safety because some surfers asked me why.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
not disease or sneaker waves or.
No, what Public Works just told me, it was a safety concern.
Okay. Do you know when they're going to reopen?
They thought it would be this afternoon. I think he's waiting to hear from the kind of maintenance supervisor that
Okay.
would go down there and reopen it. So it may be happening soon.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
What
sure.
was your name?
Rosie.
Without information, the public doesn't have any way of understanding the risk that they take should they decide to cross the police barrier. And then this Capitola employee gave us a little more information about the risks and a policy that seemed that they were just making up as they went along. But there were some surfers down there that had gotten over the closed points, and I asked, they asked me why the beach was closed, and I didn't know, so I came down to find out.
Okay. So yeah, just a safety precaution.
So is it going to reopen soon?
I mean, it's kind of dependent on what conditions are, but people don't always follow, people do what they want to do. But we try to close it to try to prevent people from getting injured, so.
And so the police couldn't really tell me that there would be like a fine if you busted through the barrier.
No, I mean, people can, like anything, people can walk around fences and.
Civil disobedience. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Our investigation showed that there were no laws and no public notice that would enable anybody to be charged with fines or fees should they decide to violate the policies and rules set by the local government and access the public beach that day. The right of public access to the courts is absolute. That right is solidified in the First Amendment that allows the public not only to access the courts to file lawsuits, but also to attend public hearings where public court judges preside over those hearings. And here, a public court judge closed a courtroom shortly after she was served with a disqualification motion and at the request of divorce attorney and minors counsel Nicole Ford.
Cindy Hendrickson. She looked very uncomfortable when she was served. She didn't know what to do. She was uncomfortable. Then she looked over at myself, and we were the only two people in the courtroom, Department 65, and she said, I am now making this case confidential, therefore I want the two of you here, non-party members, to leave the courtroom. And I just raised my arm up like I was holding a torch. And I said, Cindy Hendrickson, we have a constitutional right to be here in this courtroom. Shame on you. And we got up and walked out.
Public court judges have absolute immunity, even when they violate the law or civil rights. They can even violate the First Amendment, and little will happen to them because they can't be sued for damages. They can, however, receive complaints to the Commission on Judicial Performance, the state watchdog agency that oversees judges and makes sure that they're following the law and acting appropriately. But when it comes to private judges, we find that there is no watchdog agency, and a lot of times the private judges just make up their own rules, especially about public notice.
Mr. Blum,
Yes,
I'm Susan Bassey.
yes.
I've just pulled your 700 forms from the town of Los Gatos. And I've also pulled your business licenses, and I was informed by the town you haven't had a business license to run your private judging business from this location. So I'm wondering where you post your public notices about hearings you held as a private judge. And I'm also wondering why you didn't pay your licensing fees when you were a commissioner in this town.
Okay, I'm getting off the commission. Thank you for the information.
Hi, my name's Susan Bassey. I'm an investigative reporter, and I'm here because Miss Huey is now doing parenting coordinations. She's taking those cases, and that's under CCP 638, and that requires her, this makes this her offices a courthouse when she's holding hearings on that kind of issue, and the public has a right to attend. So I'm here to see if she's posting that and where she would conduct those hearings so that the public can attend that.
Is there a number that we can contact you or she can contact you?
Certainly.
This week, as we were investigating minors counsel and private judge labeled parenting coordinator Jessica Huey, someone from her office seemingly called the police on us, something that seems to happen a great deal when we're asking if somebody, especially an attorney, is complying with public access laws. And so we're going to continue to look for who is obstructing public access to public beaches, courthouses, and legal proceedings.
Who called?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. That's why we're here to figure that out.
Government employees vested with the power to make policies that can close public beaches, and attorneys privately paid to do the job of a public court judge based on rules and titles they give themselves have no expectation of privacy, and might be well served to better understand the Streisand Effect. Back in 2003, a photographer documenting California's coastal erosion published thousands of images online. One of those images happened to include the famous actress Barbra Streisand's Malibu home in the distance. Almost no one noticed the photo until the famous actress sued. Streisand argued the photo invaded her privacy, but the lawsuit itself became the news. Suddenly, the photo she wanted hidden was being shared everywhere. The attempt to suppress information amplified the information worldwide, and thus the term Streisand Effect was born. The more these private judges try to hide cases from public view, the more they risk drawing attention to the very secrecy they're trying to maintain. It's a Streisand Effect all over again. The harder attorneys acting as private judges or parenting coordinators try to conceal cases, fail to post public notices, and fail to disclose their conflicts of interest or how much they're actually making, the more questions the public and press are going to ask. And that's just what we are going to keep doing to bring transparency and accountability to the secret and shadowy legal proceedings moved from public courthouses into private offices and homes of attorneys being paid to act as public court judges. Barbra Streisand wanted a photo unseen and made it unforgettable. Private judges want their proceedings invisible, but the public is beginning to notice. Transparency isn't optional, and if we all want a legal system that's fair, we have to be able to see it.